Welcome to the online series based on Sri Aurobindo's profound vision. Art is a bridge between the human and the divine. We are grateful to Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts IGNCA, New Delhi, and Puducherry Regional Center for collaborating with us in this series. Our speaker today is Dr. Sachidanand Joshi, the member secretary of IGNCA, which is India's premier institution in the field of arts and culture under Ministry of Culture, Government of India since 2016. Dr. Joshi is a renowned writer, theatre artist, and academician who served as a vice chancellor of Kushabhahu Thackeray Journalism University, Raipur, for 10 years. Earlier, he served as a registrar and dean of Makhanlal Chaturvedi Rashtriya Patrakarita Vishwavidyalaya, Bhopal, a university for the discipline of journalism and mass communication. He has authored many books in variety of disciplines such as short stories, poetry, satire, and memoirs, and published several articles in reputed journals and books. He has edited several prestigious publications which include Connecting Through Culture, Selected Words of Mahatma Gandhi on Culture and Civilization, and The Eternal Truth, Life and Teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. He has been conferred with several prestigious awards at the national level for his contribution in the field of culture and literature. He is a life member of INTAC and also on several prestigious committees including NMML, UGC, etc.
Namaskar. First of all, let me congratulate SACAR on its silver jubilee. My regards to Professor Ananda Reddy and his entire team for doing a phenomenal work in the field of research as far as the India's philosophy is concerned. I must also congratulate the people of India for celebrating the art as the integral part of life. As Sri Aurobindo has said, that art is the bridge between the human and the divine. And we all know that art has been taken in India in a very different spirit and in a very different phenomenon. What is art for us? We must think about this. Art is not only a matter of entertainment for Indians. Art is not only a thing which is done for entertaining others. Art is not only a thing which is done in a pastime. So, what is art for us? And how do we consume art in our day to day life? As we all know, that our philosophy is not linear. Our philosophy is circular. That is why the India's time frame is always counted in a circular motion. And that is very important. And that circularity is also reflects in our expression of art. So how do we really consume art in our day-to-day life? For me, art is not something to entertain you or the society or the world. For me, art is to do my prayers to the divine. For me, art is to connect me to that divine force. So, when we do art, it is not to entertain anyone, but to entertain me, myself. That is known as Atmaranjan. Entertainment is Manoranjan. Entertainment is done for everybody. Atmaranjan means to entertain myself, to appease my own soul, to give relief to my own soul, to give energy to my own soul. And that is how I express my art. And when I do the expression of art to do and to entertain myself, then only I get connected to the divine. Because everything, what I do, what I think, is to connect myself to the divine force. And that is why each expression in Indian form is, in a way, to please, to offer my prayers, to offer my greetings to the divine force. And that is how art gets connected to me. when we see the traditional art forms in India and when we see people how they express is very unique. For instance, we take example of Rangoli, the kind of things which our people do, create every day are astonishing. They are phenomenal piece of artwork, of visual art. But every day they create and every evening they sort of destroy it to make another piece of art. Because it is not for only showing to anyone else. It is also to please yourself. It is also to please your mother nature. It is also to please your divine force. That is how art is treated in our society. Another example is a unique example when we do some kind of a household activity in our house. In traditional way, in very grammatical way, it cannot be an art form. But the way even utensils are kept, the way the table is laid, the way the things are laid in the house also creates some kind of an visual art. And it is not to entertain anyone. It is only to give you some kind of a satisfaction and energy. That is Atmaranjan. And that is why we say when you see a house very well decorated, very well curated, very well kept, you see the God lives in this house. The divine forces, we can see the divine energy in that. And that is the beautiful expression of art. So when we talk about art and spirituality, they are not two different things. Art and spirituality are connected to each other because a true artist can only create an art form when he or she is connected to the divine. He or she is getting some energy from the divine force. And that is why when we say that an artist cannot create his or her creation another time, it will be in another artwork. Art cannot be replicated. It can only be done once forever, because that is a piece of art created by the divine force, created with the inspiration of the divine force, created with the impetus of the divine force. And that is the true essence of art. And that only happens when you are spiritually enlightened, awakened, and when you are spiritually attuned with the divine energy. So a true art cannot be an art which only expresses any kind of a commercial outfit. It cannot be a commercial outfit. It cannot be a commercial expression. It can only and only be a thing which comes from your heart, which comes from your soul, and which connects to your soul. So when we think art in our terminology, it is not for any kind of a commercial advantage. And there lies the difference between the concept of art in our country and concept of art in the European world. Because we always think that art is not a thing which separates myself from my life. Art is within me. It will survive and I live with the art. These two things are not different. I cannot see art as something which is outside myself. Art has to be within myself. And unless art is there in yourself, you cannot appreciate an artwork. You cannot appreciate a piece of art. So in a sense, you cannot discriminate between a person who is an ordinary person and an artist. In true senses, everyone is an artist. He or she creates his own world of art. He or she creates his own world of expression. That is our philosophy. So, we never think in terms of preserving the art in the commercial terms, in the professional terms. That is the purpose. That is why India has never been a country of museums. The concept of museum was borrowed from the European countries because we always thought whatever I have created today is only to give me some peace, some enjoyment, some satisfaction today. And I have the capacity of create another piece tomorrow which can give me equal or more satisfaction, more enjoyment tomorrow. So when Sri Aurobindo says that it is a bridge between you and the divine, that means it also flows in my soul, in my body, like I breathe. I also breathe art. I also breathe expression. I also breathe creativity. When I breathe creativity, when I breathe expression, then the transformation of a self is phenomenal. You can see a person who is enlightened, who is living art within himself or herself, is a different person. So, in our perspective or our context, when we see how art transforms a society, we must also try to understand how a person is transformed. Basically, in India, we have a different kind of a culture as far as the art related objects are concerned. That is because we have inherited a very wretched, very westernized education system. It was never there in earlier times. If you go back to our ancient period and see the kind of artworks which were created by our ancestors, you will be astonished to see those things. You would wonder to see how the expression remained in the society and how it was gelling with the day-to-day life of the society. Art was never there in isolation. It was always there, which was within the society, which used to flow with the day-to-day life, which used to flow with the routine life of the society. May it be the expression of sculpture, may it be the expression of architecture, may it be the expression of music, may it be the expression of visual art, may it be the expression of literature, may it be the expression of even things like rangoli or things like stitching or things like even cookery. All those things are art. When we hear the term garnishing, which is a westernized term, we often get surprised. We also had our own system of decorating our food items. We also had a system of decorating our entire cuisine. We also had a system of beautifully presenting our cuisine. From where did that art came? Another example is art is also related to the nature. Art also complements to the nature. Art also flows with the ethos of nature. And that is why when we see places like Rajasthan, where you see less greenery, the dresses are full of colors. They are vibrant, they are bright, they emit energy from colors. Why does it happen? It happens because in nature there are less colors. It has less greenery. On the contrast, if you go to Kerala, you see the costumes are generally white, generally of very soft colors. Why? Because the entire nature emits colors. It's full of greenery. It's full of vibrancy, full of colors. So just see the kind of complementing resources which the energy, which the nature is giving to the humankind. And that complementation, that is the relationship which is there between the art and the society. So it's not only teaching art in a school. It's not only finding out a curriculum in the school. It's not that some course or some unit or something like that is going to happen as far as the art is concerned. Even for the society, art is an integral part. No society can be termed as a very good society, as an elevated society, unless it has an element of art. A simple analysis: if you ask someone what you would be like to call an educated person or a cultured person, what would be the response? The immediate response would be, I would like to be called a cultured person. Why? Because being cultured, being cultured gives you a kind of an essence in your life, a kind of an aroma in your life, a kind of a energy in your life. So society has to be cultured. And this culture can only come when you really internalize art in the social fabric. And that would come when you, from the early childhood, try to train a child how to consume art in your day-to-day life. So it's not teaching a class of drawing, it's not teaching a class of music or dramatics or asking your child to write a poem. It's about internalizing the whole artwork. That has been done in our society since ages. Since ages, we have found that beautiful piece of artwork has been displayed in the society so commonly, so that each and every person gets vibrancy through those artworks. And that is the important essence of our life. So when we talk about Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, we also think that art can be used for aesthetic and intellectual or social purposes. What does that mean? That means that a society can only get uplifted if it gets an element of art imbibed into this. And that Sri Aurobindo has realized very well. And that is why he has written extensively on the importance of culture. He has also written extensively on the vibrancy of Indian culture, or on the ethos of Indian culture. It can also reveal what the nature and the God means to a person. How do you connect to the divine force? How do you get closer to the divine force? It's only through the expression of art. I mean, I was talking to Sri Arun Yogiraj. We all know Arun Yogiraj now. I need not to explain who he is. But for those who do not know, I must tell that Arun Yogiraj is the person who has crafted the statue of Sri Ram in the recently built Ayodhya Ram temple. And what was his expression? He said that until I carved the eyes on the idol was different. And the moment I carved eyes on the idol, it became a different idol. An idol which I could not believe that I crafted it. In fact, his words are that I did not craft it. I mean, who then crafted? It was the divine force which gave him the impetus to do this work. So it connects you to the God, it connects you to the nature. That is what Sri Aurobindo says, that it gives you, it reveals what the nature means, what the God is. It can also be the form of self-expression from the soul and spirit. How do you express yourself? How do you define yourself? How do you narrate yourself? A painter only draws one line and it explains everything. A writer, a literature, only write one line, one single line, or even not a line. He or she will utter one word, and that gives his entire definition. That means The power of art is immense. It can give you it's the source through which you can explain yourself in entirety. It can also gives you the, the space to give your own introduction. Even for that matter, when you listen to the music, as soon as you listen to the first note of that musician, and if that musician is singing from his or her soul, you would automatically get connected to the divine force. You will not require any external apparatus to do that. So that is another important thing. And when I say how does art is connecting you to the nature, I should also explain how we make ourselves deprived of taking the advantage of the beauty of the nature, the aesthetics of the nature. I mean, when you go for a morning walk and when you see people listening to the music, putting headphones on their ears, I feel pity about them. Because those are the unfortunate people who are unable to enjoy the beauty of the nature, who are unable to enjoy the art and aesthetics of the nature. They are using some external apparatus, external equipment to sort of feel the beauty, to sort of feel the divinity. But if you don't use this, nature itself is providing you all the opportunity to feel that divinity. It is there when the bird sings, when you see the leaves falling, when the wind blowing, noise of the cow, hen, so many things. Doesn't that make a very beautiful music? Music of nature, music of divine force, music of love, music of satisfaction, music of vibrant energy. But you also need to have that kind of a perspective to look at the nature, look at the art. Art can also be an important tool, as Sri Aurobindo says, that it can be an important tool to liberate people and liberate into joy and beauty. How does that liberation comes? How one can feel liberated? How one can feel that they have the power to express and create everything? How does creativity helps a person to feel the liberation, to feel the kind of a freedom? And how does freedom is expressed? So it's only through art you can realize that freedom is expressed through the expression of creativity. And that essence of creativity is generated through your internal energy, through your internal vibrancy, which is there resulting your connection with the divine force. So those things we need to understand, we need to follow. Another thing which Sri Aurobindo has said, that art can also help us in fighting the ugliness. Just look at the society these days. There are people who are trying to create all sort of dirt and filth in the society. Physically, I am not talking about digitally. I'll talk about digitally a moment later. But initially, when you go around the streets and you find people are throwing garbage, people are not caring about the garbage. They are creating all sorts of filth on the streets, putting dirt, putting everything on the streets, thinking that for them only keeping their house clean is their responsibility and not the society. But what an artist would do, an artist would try to put the garbage aside create something beautiful so that people do not throw filth, people do not throw garbage on that. Maybe some divine, some statue of God, maybe some beautiful piece of nature, something which will attract people and which will stop people from throwing such things. Or when you listen to something which is very noisy, which is very cranky, which upsets you, and somebody puts a very soothing, very nice music piece there, just to give you some kind of a relief, just to give you some kind of a calmness in your heart, mind, and soul, maybe your entire mood will change. Maybe your entire perspective can get changed. So that is also an important aspect of art, and that also gives you some kind of a vision. Look at the life, look at your being. That is very important. Art also takes you beyond some kind of a physical thing. It's not only physical, because when we talk about tangible and intangible, generally art is something which is intangible. You can't see. If I say I like this music, maybe I'll not be in a position to tell you exactly what is that which I am liking, exactly what is that which through to which I am getting attracted to. But I like it, or I like that color. How do I react to some color? How do I react to some sound? How do I react to some visual? How do I react to some sculpture? It's beyond physical. It's something which is beyond expressions. So that expression is also a gift of God, which cannot be expressed in words. If you see a play, if you see a drama, if you see one, you get involved into this. And when you get involved into this, you also become a character of that drama. And then you form a bridge between the drama, the actor who is performing on the stage, and yourself. And once that bridge is built, then you get a communication much easily. It goes inside you. What is all that? It's all something which is beyond physical. So art takes you to something which is beyond physical, your realization, your soul, your chit. Chit is something which is much more than soul. The concept of chit is only there maybe in our own philosophy, in our Indian philosophy. It does not exist maybe in other philosophies. So how does my chit gets enlightened? How does my chit gets happiness? How does my chit gets fulfillment, sense of fulfillment? It's through art. So those things are really possible through the expression of art. Just wanted to add that because of the overpowering impact of digital media in our day-to-day life, very fast we are losing the basic essence of art and creativity. We must be aware that a gadget is only a gadget. It is not my mind, it is not my soul, it is not my chit. And if I am trying to surrender to the intellect, to the brain of this device, maybe I am doing disaster to myself. This is what is happening. Today, our entire life is getting transformed into a real life. We are no longer living in real life, but we are living in real life. And that real life is causing a serious damage on our creativity. That real life is also causing a serious damage on our aesthetics. It is causing a serious damage on our expression of art, we are becoming very rough, very rude, very crude, and very blunt. We are losing the beautiful modesty of art. We are losing the beautiful aesthetics of art. And if we continue doing this, maybe a day will come where we all will lose our creativity. And a new terminology known as artificial intelligence is trying to help us out in more than many ways. I could have given this lecture by giving just one simple command to my own computer or my own mobile phone, and I would have got a fantastic lecture out of ChatGPT or Meta. It would have been a lot easier for me to deliver this lecture through that. But would that be right enough? And that is it what we want to listen? Is it what we want to hear? Is it we want to experience? No, it's not that. It's much more than that. Because for me, it's not only the materials, it's not only the pen and papers, it's not only the gadget which I am using. It's much more than that. It's my connect with you. It's my connect with the divine force. It's my connect with the nature. And that can only be achieved when I am understanding the real essence of art. So we need to understand that this digital technology should only be limited to help us out in making our work easier. But we should not surrender ourselves to that. I don't know what Sri Aurobindo would have reacted, how he would have reacted on this had he been there in today's scenario. But we know that he has been constantly alarming us, constantly telling us to energize our creativity so that we connect to the divine force, so that we become one with the divine force, so that we become unison with the divine force. And when I say Aham Brahmasmi means I am the divine force. When I say Ekoham Dvitiyo Nasti, so I am only one, there is no other person. So I am the divine, I am myself. If I am the divine and I am myself, I need to understand that I not only belong to the divinity, I also represent the divinity. And that representation only will come when I do the right expression of art. I hope whatever I could tell you about the expression was reasonably communicated to you. Friends, this is not a lecture which has been prepared with the help of books. This is a lecture which came from my heart. I wanted to touch your heart. I don't know how far I am successful, but I must thank Professor Anand Reddy ji and his entire team, the Institute, for giving me this opportunity to express my feeling about that. Thank you very much.